What do you get when you cross John Wick, Vikings with The Witcher? You get John Gwynne's Bloodsworn Saga, an epic Norse-inspired trilogy. G'day BookTube, you're here with Nick, the Renaissance Bookman, and today I'm going to give you my spoiler-free review of this epic Norse-inspired trilogy by John Gwynne, the Bloodsworn Saga. And I'm going to give you 4 reasons why this addictive book, high-octane book, is going to be the next trilogy that you need to read. Before I jump into the 4 reasons, let me give you my high-level overview. What we have here is a Norse-inspired epic fantasy. So Norse-inspired, think of Viking culture, think of long beards with braids in it, think of fiercely competent women that are in roles of leadership, which is totally normal part of culture. We've got slaves and we have gods. We very much live in a world where gods are real and they are a part of our everyday life. The difference here is that we are this post-apocalyptic, not apocalyptic, but post-Ragnarok world where the gods fought themselves into extinction. But what we have is we still have their offspring. We have those humans that have an element of the gods' blood in their ancestry, in their bloodline. And so they carry with them some of the traits of those gods. But we're scared of the gods, right, as people, because they almost wiped us off the face of the earth during their battle. They don't care for us. They are above us, living above us, just using us for however they want. And so we're scared of them. So what do? Just like we do in X-Men, we hunt them down and we kill them. If we don't kill them, then what do? We put a thrall collar around their necks and make them do what we want. Yes, slavery is a huge part of the world that we live in. We've got rivaling factions. We've got a really epic, beautiful, picturesque world where we eat porridge for breakfast every single day, irrespective of what's going on. Porridge and mead halls and all of this sort of good fun. That's the world that we find ourselves in. But reason number 1 as to why this needs to be on your TBR this year is the character development. It is absolutely terrific. This is a fast-paced, action-orientated book, but it's the character development that carries everything for me. It was the reason why I loved it, and it's going to stay with me. It is amazing how fast John Gwynne gets you to fall in love with his characters. You become invested in their storylines, and you are rooting for them. In The Shadow of the Gods, the very first book in the series, we immediately start following 3 different points of view. We're jumping between these 3 different people. The first of which is Elva. Elva is competent. She's this independent woman seeking battle fame. She's trying to break away from societal expectations and expectations put upon her by her family and find her place, her own footing in the world in her own right. And we are following her as she's trying to rise up within a mercenary war band known as the Battle Grim. She's a whole lot of fun, but I will be honest, her strength comes in the 3rd book, where she really starts to get this beautiful character development and this growth and development and who she is and what she stands for. And it's the 3rd book in which Elva really comes to the fore. The next person we follow is our innocent character. Innocent's probably a stretch. He's the naive one. He is the hobbit in this story where we get to explore things through his naivety and have stuff explained to us. And that is in Varg. Varg is excellent. Varg is so much fun. We are introduced to Varg as he is on the run. He is an ex-thrall, an ex-slave. He used to be wearing a thrall collar, and he is on the run trying to figure out who killed his sister. Why did she die? How did she die? And who is responsible? The dude is angry, right? And then he is on a vengeance tour. Vengeance is a common storyline across fantasy, and it holds true in this for several of our characters. And I'm not upset at all. Vengeance is a really fun storyline to explore. And that's what we have with Varg. As I said, the hobbits in the Lord of the Ring, they're our naive character through which we have things explained to us. Varg affectionately gets the name Varg No Sense because he fulfills that role for us. Varg's got a different story. There's that vengeance in it, but so much more. We explore so much more through Varg. It's a coming-of-age story in the end where we get to see him discover what it means to belong, to have purpose and to have a family. Brotherhood is a really strong theme throughout Varg's story. The 3rd point of view that we explore in the 1st book, The Shadow of the Gods, I'm smiling because, man, she was fun, and that is Orca. Orca is quite clearly a favourite female character for me, not just in this series, but probably in every fantasy series that I have read. She is a ball of fun. We meet Orca as she's just trying to live a simple life. She's a farmer. She's just hanging out on a farm with her son Brecker and with her husband Thorkel. They're just the everyday people, nothing special about them at all, until we start to get a little bit of Orca's inner monologue. And you can tell that she is suppressing a beast within her. She's an angry woman. She is a fierce woman. Someone takes a sideways glance at her son and her inner monologue starts running and she just wants to rip the throats out of every single person that's ever slighted her and her family. She is a beast just ready to get after people. I found myself really resonating with Thorkel because I'm 8 foot tall and got a big barrel chest on me. No. So I married into an Italian family and I can see some of those same ferocity, that same ferociousness in my wife. And I could really resonate with Thorkel where he's forever trying to get in front of her emotions and be like, hey, it's okay. Don't worry about that. It's all right. Hey, they didn't slide us. It's fine. We'll just go back to the farm. It's all right. Hey, we'll find another car park. It's okay, sweetie. So I really liked Thorkel because I saw a lot of myself in the way that he interacts with his wife. A whole lot of fun. Just to my wife, I said that. No, but it's through Orca that we get our John Wick storyline. That's as much as I'm going to say about that. But most of the epic fight scenes that we're going to encounter, not most of, a whole bunch of the epic fight scenes, it's because of Orca and her just unwillingness to adhere to societal norms and just relax and step back and actually just take a bit of a stock take on what's going on. She's like, nah, screw you. I'm straight on in there with my bearded axe. I'm going to hack you all to death. Like, let's go. She's so much fun. I can't wait to, at some point in time, I'm going to do a video where I grab all of my favorite fighters from all the different fantasy and sci-fi books that I have read and pit them up against each other. Like there is you get an octagon with Orca and Gurney Halleck, and there is no way Gurney walks away from that alive. Absolutely zero chance. This woman is ferocious and I love her. She is so much fun. So yeah, 3 points of view from our first book. Second and third book, however, we amp it up a little bit. We go to 5 different points of view and it's okay. You can follow all 5 storylines and it's achievable, even for small-brained people like myself. So I'm going to leave the 4th point of view as a bit of a mystery. You get to explore that and figure that out for yourself. Just know that their development is really quite good. It's a little bit more serious, but I liked that role. But our 5th point of view really value adds, really distinct character, Guthvar. Why? Because he is a weasel. He is a cowardly, spineless human, and you hate him. You despise him. I wanted to jump through the pages with a sea axe and spear this dude to death myself. He is not fun. He has this really twisted, cowardly, self-serving monologue that just runs. I remember reading some of it out to my wife, and she visibly recoiled and was like, oh, he sounds like Wormtail from Harry Potter. And I was like, no. He is like less altogether than that. He's more like a Wormtongue from Lord of the Rings. He's a combination between Wormtongue and Wormtail. He is disgusting. You hate him. But GC value adds. Like, he brings a lot to the story in the way that he sees things and his willingness to look after himself and his own and survive. It was a good, distinct character. Whilst the others are all kind of on that hero journey and we're rooting for them, like, boy, are we rooting for them, you just can't wait for someone to kill this dude. You're like, this is the scene. Damn it, he survived again. Like, how does this dude keep slipping away from everyone? You want to see this guy die in the most glorious way possible. And so for that reason, you're like flicking through, trying to get to the moment where this dude is like flailed, because it's pretty gruesome. If I haven't got that point across right now, like Orca, she will rip the throat out of your neck, like without a question here. And I'm waiting for someone to do that to Guthvar, and like it's just teasing it. It feels like that meme where like the train is like forever about to run into the side of a mountain or whatever that meme is. You know what I'm talking about there. It's like that, just waiting for Guthvar to die. No, but the character development in this book is terrific. John Gwynne gets you caring for them, rooting for them, or rooting against them. Either way, those emotional, that pull that he gets from you is identical, whether it's for or against. The character development is terrific. Well done, John Gwynne. You are a master at that. The second reason why you need to read this trilogy right now is that the pacing is near on perfect. Some stories that have got multiple points of view, you find one of them lacking. You're not that interested in them, and that drags on for too long in one storyline where you forget where you were at with the other stories. That is not the case here. No, like the chapters, none of them go for more than like say 15 pages. They are short, they are sharp, and he takes the time to explore the world because the world is beautiful, right? You have these crystal clear lakes with these beautiful mountain ranges in behind. John Gwynne takes the time to describe that to you. I distinctly remember finishing a page and being like, oh, Like that was 100% like an entire page just on the breakfast process where we talked about how it is that each person likes their porridge. But I didn't even find it slow. It didn't detract from the story because 2 pages later, Orca is ripping someone's head from their body. There is action right around the corner in every single chapter and every single storyline. And so you're bouncing between them and you don't feel lost. I will say in the second book, it does suffer maybe 5% of the Twin Towers curse where there's just a little bit too much travel. But my encouragement there is that there is an epic, like there is a world map at the start of the book. And I just had to flick back a few times to remind myself where each of our 5 storylines were going because all of them were on the move at the same time. And so I had to remind myself, okay, what is east of Dal? How does that work? When you take this river, where does that? Oh, okay, I get that. And so you could see and anticipate where the storylines are about to interact with each other. But I did need the diagram to help me do that. And that's fine. You get the diagram as well. It's not something that's limited to my version of the book. You get that as well. Something that I found really impressive is that in book 1, we have these individual storylines where we're following that as people are going and you can see them, but they're kind of running in parallel with each other. They merge and then they diverge away from each other. And it's not really until book 2 where they start to overlap. And you start to see where the final storyline is going to go and how that's all going to weave together. And as a result of that, you have high stakes, individually high stakes in the initial book. And then through book 2 and 3, the stakes all converge with each other. And so they just do this, right? And if you can create a book where you've got ever increasing stakes, you are going to have someone wanting to come back and read more and flick the next page. And because they're short chapters, you're like, oh, it's fine. It's 1 a.m. I'll just read one more chapter. And then something epic happens. And you're like, oh, I wanted to find out what would happen with that person. And so you read another chapter. And that is why I managed to polish off all 3 of these books in the month of January alone. And I read 2 other books in that. I'm not a fast reader. And so that says something for the pacing that John Gwynne is able to create is, geez, he just has you hooked and keep coming back for more. This is a very readable book and a terrific starting point for anyone who is new to fantasy. You will find yourself understanding what's going on and hooked right from the beginning. One of the things I will say about John Gwynne is you're like 100 pages in and he has this epic fight scene, this massive battle. And you're just like, geez, like we are ripping through this scene. Like this is a lot of climax happening right here. And it reminded me, have you ever been to a concert or a DJ set and you feel like they peak like too early into the set? You're like, oh, dude, that was your best song. That's your most well-known song. And you hit that song number 3. Like, I feel like you've gone a little bit early there, bro. And I felt that initially with John Gwynne. I was like, oh, dude, like, how are you? Like, you're here in terms of the actual action here. How are you? Like, are we going to get this massive drawdown from here and it's going to have a huge lull? But no, like, he gets there and just holds this absolute action-orientated, epic battle scenes right the way through. So well done. I didn't believe you were going to do it, but you did it 3 times over. So good from you, John Gwynne. The third reason why you need to read this series right now, and I've just alluded to it, it's the epic fight scenes. These are Vikings. As you could appreciate watching any sort of Viking movie or reading any Viking book is like they're pretty pissed off all of the time. Throw in Orca, who's just generally pissed and ferocious and wants to rip your throat out. And so there are conflict after conflict. And what I love is just the variety of people that we have fighting. So it's Norse-inspired. So you're going to have those bearded axes, the sea axes. You'll have spears, you'll have swords, and you'll have shields. All of that is normal. You're going to have army v army phalanx-style warfare, where they're all in a shield wall together, locking shields, where you're trying to grab your bearded axe, grab hold of the dude's shield in front of you, rip it down so the person in the second row behind you can lean forward with their spear and like slice your neck open. So you have those types of battles. But then you have a you versus me one-on-one battle to the death, where everyone just lines up in a big circle and we just patiently sit by as gentlemen and scholars that we are, watching someone fight to the death. And so that is good fun. And they are really descriptive. And the way that John Gwynne describes it, you can visualize it. This is a really easy fight scenes to visualize. I can picture the feint where someone pretends to slip or is feigning an injury to suck someone in and then reef around and do whatever it is that they're going to do. But if you're not going to have these one-on-one fight scenes, but then mate with it with another person, maybe you're fighting one of these Witcher-style monsters. We've got these Vaesen where they're frost spiders, they're trolls, they're these tenor, which are these disgusting looking rat-like creatures with bat wings who want nothing more than to rip teeth out of your mouth and just chew away of them on their two rows of teeth, like disgusting creatures. Or maybe we've got rune magic from our mages or our Sether witches. Or perhaps we're just going to fight with regular old humans. Or maybe some not so regular old humans. Those that have bloodline of one of our gods, be it the dragon, the wolf, or the snake, or the hound, or the rat, whatever it is, they inherit some of the characteristics of that god. And so that god is just inside of them, trying to get out. The Berser, like you wonder, like the Berserkir in the Viking sort of history and mythology around that one. You've got the Berserkir who have a bear in their bloodline that are just ferocious, want to get out there and just be wicked strong and just tear humans apart. And the person is forever trying to suppress that beast within them. But then you have these moments where the beast just gets out and it is brutal. Like the Grimholt scene in the end of the first book is just epic. You can visualize it. It is so much fun where the beast just gets out. Different characteristics within our humans as well, or our godlike humans, and then just our humans themselves, that it creates these really, really visceral and visual fight scenes. And John Gwynne loves them. We are just bouncing between fight scene to fight scene, and it doesn't get old. It's so much fun. Okay, before I get to the fourth reason, bonus reason, I treated myself to the special edition versions of these, and look how good they look. This is Ulfir, the wolf god, and he looks freaking scary. You've got Likrifa, the dragon god. Look how good that artwork is. These are beautiful versions. They're nice and pretty, so I can even put these ones spine out. I have decided I like pretty versions of books, treated myself to these, and it was worth it. That's the bonus reason. Go and buy these versions of it. And reason number 4, if you're interested in looking for it, there are genuine lessons to be had on leadership, on emotional intelligence, on fear-driven political campaigns, on slavery, power, greed, family dynamics, on the knife-edged nature of vengeance, and also on inner purpose. There is a whole bunch of deeper moral teachings available should you choose to find them. This is one of my favorite things about fantasy novels, where people might be critical of you reading a fantasy book and they'll be like, you're just into escapism, trying to escape from reality and hide in this other world. I'm like, yeah, like that is something that you get to do, and it's really freeing and liberating from that to go and explore these different worlds. However, there's lessons to be had if you want to look for them. Elvar goes through this massive sort of challenges of leadership where she has leadership sort of thrust upon her and she feels the weight of it. I don't know if anyone has ever been involved in a sporting team where suddenly, like, you're like the best person on the team. You're really quite competent, or you might see it in your own team where the best player on the team doesn't make the best team captain. Why? Because they feel the weight of leadership. They start to second guess everything they're doing. Leadership doesn't come naturally to them, and so it detracts from their own skills that they have. Like, that is a very real thing. The weight of leadership is genuine and it's real. And we experience that through a whole bunch of our characters, and it's believable and it value adds to the story. There's a whole bunch of really good examples of crisis leadership as well, where something horrific goes wrong and how people pick up the pieces and keep people moving forward, keep them focused on the goal. Let's fight this next battle. Don't worry about what's coming down the horizon. Focus on the here and now. What can we control? Let's focus on that. It's really appropriate. Great emotional intelligence to bring people back to find something where they can center themselves around. There is also really cool examples where we've got our Jarls or Jarls and petty Jarls, where they're just fighting for power. And they have straight up taken political campaigning lessons from the 1930s in Germany, where they are just embarking on a campaign of fear, where they are emphasizing the other and the way in which that they are depriving you of your rights and everything you have available to you, and focusing on that rather than what is the underlying actual real problem of what's going on. And there are undercurrents of slavery throughout all of this. We've talked about it. We're afraid of the gods because they almost wiped us off the face of the earth. And so anyone with that bloodline, we're afraid of them and what they can do. And so instead of coming to understand them, we're just going to enslave them. We're going to put a thrall collar on them and make them do what we need them to do. So there is this undercurrent of slavery throughout this whole book. And are we okay about this as a society? Do we like where this is? You've got some like Varg who are just outright against it, right? And it makes sense because they've been enslaved their whole life and they're breaking out of it. Slavery was ultimately the reason why his sister died. But we have others that enslave people, are actively going around and putting thrall collars on people, yet they're positioned as one of the heroes. So we can see that the good people in this book are both on either side of this issue. And so that makes it an interesting dynamic. And as we jump between these different points of view, and we see it as conflict when our storylines converge as well. Fortunately for us, due to William Wilberforce and a whole bunch of others, this isn't a particular theme that we have to struggle with and we have to overcome necessarily, particularly in the Western world today. But there was a really interesting quote, and it came from Orca, and I'm just going to read it now. It says, quote, "We decide what is the way of the world. Us, people. It is not imposed upon us by some greater force." Now, Orca is quite clearly in this context here talking about the greater force being the gods, being Leek Reefer, Ulfir, or Snacker the Snake, or whoever it is. This greater force being, like it says so in the title, the shadow of the gods, the wrath of the gods, the fury of the gods. It's the gods, this deity, that is just enforcing their will upon Orca and upon the people here. And she is saying it doesn't need to be like that. But for us, well, we don't have these same sort of mythical gods, right? But this is relevant to us as well. But we do have a greater force to overcome. It isn't a deity or anything like that. It's culture. It's momentum. It's this invisible pull. It's the stories we tell. It's the snowball that we pushed off the cliff 1,000 years ago that is still rolling today that we have to try and overcome. And it requires epic levels of moral courage to overcome that type of momentum. We see it people today where they pop their head up and want to stand up for what they believe in and what have you. In Australia, we have a theme for it. It's called tall poppy syndrome, where if you pop your head up and actually want to stand for something, then people will cut you down. We see a lot of that. At its absolute worst, it's cancel culture. I have no doubt, I have absolutely no doubt that in 100 years' time, society will have moved on in terms of what the cultural norms are. And we will be absolutely shocked at the things that we cancel people for today, because we'll be like, what do you mean that was not the opinion that everybody held? But that happens, right? History, like they're another country. They do things funny over there. But overcoming culture, overcoming momentum, the greater force that I interpreted from when I was reading this quote from Orca, noting that's not what she was talking about, but it's what I got from this here. Overcoming that requires wild levels of moral courage. Orca had it. Orca had it right from the beginning. She had physical courage and moral courage. What I found really interesting is that the person she delivered this line to didn't at this point in time. And we watched them develop to the point where maybe they're going to get there. Maybe they're going to see things from her perspective and are able to stand up for and make something a reality simply for believing it, saying it, and standing by it. So as I said, there's a whole bunch of really cool little moral teachings, some lessons on leadership, on emotional intelligence, if you want to learn those. If you don't, it's totally fine. Just get lost in the character development. Get lost in this epic Norse-inspired world that John Gwynne creates. If you don't like that, that's fine, because it's going to move on so darn quickly. These short, sharp chapters where you're just going to bounce from one idea to the next and explore these epic fight scenes, which are a whole lot of fun, fought by a whole bunch of different people, different creatures with different special gifts, and a whole bunch of bearded axes, which makes it so much fun. John Gwynne, this is epic. I absolutely loved this. This is A tier. What I will say is every single book was A tier, right next to each other. Maybe book 2 is a half, like a 5% step back, but I'm nitpicking here just because I didn't yet know the world well enough and I had to keep bouncing back to the map. But apart from that, this is awesome. It is John Wick meets The Witcher with a whole bunch of Viking and Norse mythology thrown in there for good measure. If you liked God of War and everything that provided as a game, you're going to love this book. Until next time, ciao.